The crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the ballroom as Olivia Carter stood in her ivory gown, watching guests filter out into the cool September night. Her feet ached from hours in heels, her cheeks hurt from smiling, and her heart felt impossibly full. She had just married Julian Hartwell, a man who had swept into her ordinary life 6 months ago and changed everything. Julian stood near the bar, his perfectly tailored tuxedo making him look like he had stepped out of a magazine. His dark hair was slightly disheveled now, his bow tie loosened. When their eyes met across the room, he smiled. But something in that smile made Olivia's stomach tighten. She brushed the feeling aside as exhaustion. The honeymoon suite at the Grand Meridian Hotel was everything Olivia had dreamed of. Florida-to-ceiling windows overlooked the glittering city skyline. Rose petals were scattered across the king-sized bed. Champagne sat chilling in a silver bucket. She slipped out of her heels with a grateful sigh and turned to find Julian standing by the window, his back to her. "Can you believe we're actually married?" she said, approaching him with a soft laugh. "Mrs. Olivia Hartwell. It still sounds surreal." Julian didn't turn around. His shoulders were rigid. His hands clasped behind his back. The silence stretched until it became uncomfortable, then unbearable. Olivia's voice wavered. "What's wrong?" When he finally faced her, his expression was carefully neutral, almost businesslike. That look belonged in a boardroom, not a honeymoon suite. "Olivia, we need to talk." Those 5 words, the ones that never preceded anything good. She felt her pulse quicken, her hands grow cold. "I made a mistake," Julian said, his voice steady and emotionless. "I thought I could do this. I thought I could make it work, but I can't. I want a divorce." The room seemed to tilt. Olivia grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. "What?" "Julian, we just got married. Literally hours ago. This is some kind of joke, right?" "I'm serious." He walked to the desk and pulled out a folder she hadn't noticed before. "I've already had papers drawn up. I'll make sure you're compensated fairly for this inconvenience." "A convenience?" He called their marriage an inconvenience. "I don't understand." Olivia's voice cracked. "What happened? Did I do something wrong? Is this about the wedding? Because if you didn't like something, we can talk about it. We can fix it." "There's nothing to fix." Julian's jaw tightened. "The truth is I'm in love with someone else. I have been for a while." Words hit her like physical blows. "Someone else? Who?" "Cassandra Vale." Olivia knew that name. Everyone knew that name. Cassandra Vale. The supermodel whose face graced every billboard and magazine cover. The woman with legs for days and cheekbones that could cut glass. The woman Julian had dated years ago before Olivia. "But she's engaged to that actor." Olivia whispered. "I saw it in the news last month. It fell apart. She reached out to me 2 weeks before our wedding." Julian at least had the decency to look uncomfortable now. "We talked. I realized I never stopped loving her. I tried to go through with marrying you because I thought it was the right thing to do, that I could learn to love you the way you deserve. But I can't build a life on a lie." 2 weeks. He had known for 2 weeks and still went through with the wedding. Still made vows in front of 200 people. Still kissed her at the altar while cameras flashed. "Get out," Olivia said quietly. "Olivia, get out." The scream tore from her throat. "Get out of this room right now." Julian grabbed his jacket and left without another word. The door clicked shut with a finality that echoed through the suite. Olivia stood frozen for a moment, then slowly sank to the floor, her expensive wedding gown pooling around her like melted snow. She didn't cry. The hurt was too deep for tears, buried somewhere beneath shock and disbelief. She spent her wedding night alone, watching the city lights blur through the windows, wondering how everything had fallen apart so quickly. The next morning, Olivia returned to her small studio apartment in the less fashionable part of downtown. She had planned to move into Julian's penthouse after the honeymoon. Now, she was grateful she had kept her lease. The apartment was cramped and the radiator clanked, but it was hers. Her best friend, Rachel, arrived within an hour of Olivia's text, carrying coffee and pastries. "I'm going to kill him," Rachel announced, setting down the bags. Slowly and painfully. "Get in line," Olivia managed a weak smile. She was still in her traveling clothes, her packed suitcase for the cancelled honeymoon, sitting unopened by the door. "What are you going to do?" Rachel asked gently. "Survive." Olivia wrapped her hands around the warm coffee cup. "Go back to work on Monday. Sign whatever papers he sends. Move on. That's it? You're just going to let him walk away? What choice do I have?" Olivia's voice was hollow. "I can't make someone love me, Rachel. And I definitely don't want to be someone's second choice." Rachel squeezed her hand, but said nothing. What was there to say? Monday arrived with brutal efficiency. Olivia returned to a job as a marketing coordinator at Bennett & Associates, mid-sized firm that handled local businesses. Her co-workers were kind enough not to ask about the honeymoon. The pitying looks were almost worse than questions would have been. She threw herself into work, staying late every night, volunteering for extra projects, anything to avoid going home to her empty apartment where the wedding gift still sat in unopened boxes. 3 weeks later, an email appeared in her inbox that made her blood run cold. The sender was Hartwell Industries, Julian's family company. Her first instinct was to delete it, but curiosity won out. "Dear Miss Carter," it read, "we would like to invite you to interview for the position of Senior Marketing Director at Hartwell Industries. We were impressed by your portfolio and believe you would be an excellent fit for our team. Please contact us at your earliest convenience to schedule an interview." Had to be some kind of cruel joke. Julian's company wanted to hire her. She showed the email to Rachel that evening. "Don't go," Rachel said immediately. "It's a trap or a pity hire or something equally horrible." But Olivia stared at the email, reading it over and over. Senior Marketing Director. It was 3 levels above her current position. The salary listed would change her life. And the signature at the bottom wasn't Julian's. It was from someone named Derek Stone, Chief Executive Officer. Julian isn't CEO of his family's company. Olivia frowned. Rachel pulled out her phone and searched. Looks like he stepped down about 2 weeks ago. This Derek Stone took over. He's some hotshot who turned around 3 failing companies before he turned 35. Olivia made a decision that surprised even herself. "I'm going to the interview, Olivia. I'm not going to let Julian Hartwell dictate my career," she said firmly. "If they want to hire me based on my work, then I'm going to let them. And if it's some kind of game, I'll walk out." The interview was scheduled for Friday afternoon. Olivia chose her most professional suit, a navy blue ensemble that made her feel armored and confident. The Hartwell Industries building was downtown, all glass and steel, reaching toward the sky like it was trying to touch the clouds. The lobby was intimidating, filled with important-looking people moving with purpose. Olivia checked in at the reception desk and was directed to the executive floor. Her heels clicked against marble as she walked toward the elevator. Her portfolio clutched in slightly damp hands. The executive assistant who greeted her was professional and warm. "Mr. Stone is looking forward to meeting you. He's finishing up a call, but he'll be right with you." Olivia waited in a sleek conference room, trying not to fidget. Through the glass walls, she could see people moving through the office. No sign of Julian, thank God. The door opened and a man walked in. Olivia stood automatically, extending her hand. Derek Stone was not what she expected. He was tall, yes, with broad shoulders that filled out his charcoal suit perfectly. But his eyes were kind, a warm brown that crinkled slightly at the corners when he smiled. His handshake was firm, but not aggressive. "Miss Carter, thank you for coming in." His voice was deep and genuine. "I've been very impressed with your work at Bennett and Associates. The campaign you ran for the Riverside Restaurant Group was particularly clever." It talked for an hour. Derek asked thoughtful questions about her strategies, her vision, her goals. He didn't mention Julian once. In fact, he seemed genuinely interested in her as a professional, not as the woman who had been publicly humiliated by the former CEO. "I'll be honest with you," Derek said as the interview wound down. "This company needs fresh perspective. The previous leadership made some questionable decisions that I'm working to correct. I need people who aren't afraid to challenge the status quo and who actually care about the work, not just the prestige." "And you think that's me?" Olivia asked. "I know it is." Derek smiled. "I'd like to offer you the position, Miss Carter. Starting salary is $80,000, full benefits for weeks vacation. You'd have your own team and direct input on all major marketing decisions." Livia's current salary was $42,000. This was more than double. This was life-changing. "When would you need an answer?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Take the weekend. Think it over. But I hope you'll say yes." Derek stood and offered his hand again. "I have a feeling you're going to do remarkable things here, Olivia." It was the first time someone had called her remarkable in a very long time. As she left the building and stepped into the autumn sunshine, Olivia felt something she hadn't felt since her wedding night. Hoped Olivia accepted the position on Sunday evening, sending a carefully worded email to Derek Stone. Monday morning, she walked into Bennett and Associates and submitted her 2 weeks' notice. Her manager was disappointed but understanding, and her co-workers threw her a small going-away party complete with cake and well wishes. Rachel remained skeptical. "You sure this isn't some elaborate scheme?" she asked over dinner the night before Olivia's first day at Hartwell Industries. "I'm sure it's a risk," Olivia admitted, twirling pasta on her fork. "But I'm tired of playing it safe. Playing it safe got me a husband who divorced me on our wedding night. Maybe it's time I took some chances." Her first day at Hartwell Industries was overwhelming in the best way. Derek personally showed her around, introducing her to the marketing team she would be leading. There were 5 people, all older and more experienced than her, but Derek made it clear that she was in charge. "Olivia has a fresh perspective that this company desperately needs," he told the team. "I expect everyone to support her vision." Her office was stunning with windows overlooking the city and enough space for a proper desk, meeting table, and even a small couch. It was 3 times the size of her cubicle at Bennett and Associates. The work was challenging but exhilarating. Hartwell Industries had contracts with major developers and construction firms across the country, but their marketing had been stale and uninspired for years. Olivia dove in analyzing past campaigns, identifying weaknesses, posing bold new strategies. Derek was an exceptional boss. He gave her autonomy but remained available for questions. He challenged her ideas without dismissing them, pushing her to think bigger and bolder. Their weekly strategy meetings became the highlight of her work week. "You're not afraid to tell me when I'm wrong," Derek observed one afternoon. After Olivia had respectfully disagreed with his approach to a new campaign. "I appreciate that. You hired me for my perspective," Olivia said. "If I just agree with everything you say, I'm not doing my job." He smiled. That warm, genuine smile that made his eyes crinkle. "Exactly right." 6 weeks into her new position, Olivia was working late when she heard a familiar voice in the hallway. Her entire body tensed. Julian. She hadn't seen him since that horrible night in the hotel suite. Hadn't wanted to see him, but now he was walking past her office laughing at something someone said, looking completely unbothered by the destruction he had left in his wake. Their eyes met through the glass wall. Julian stopped mid-love, his expression shifting to something unreadable. He changed direction, heading toward her door. Olivia considered locking it, but that felt childish. She straightened her shoulders and kept her expression neutral as he entered. Olivia. He closed the door behind him. I heard you were working here. I wanted to say hello. Hello. Her voice was cool and professional. Was there something you needed, or are you just making rounds? Julian flinched slightly at her tone. I deserve that. Olivia, I've been wanting to talk to you to apologize properly. There's nothing to apologize for. She turned back to her computer. You were honest about your feelings. I appreciate the honesty, even if the timing was terrible. It was more than terrible. It was cruel. Julian moved closer to her desk. I handled everything wrong. I should have called off the wedding when I realized my feelings for Cassandra. I should have been honest weeks earlier. I'm sorry. Olivia finally looked at him. Really looked at him. He seemed tired, with shadows under his eyes that hadn't been there before. Apology noted. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to finish. How are you doing? Really? Julian asked softly. I'm doing well, actually. Better than well. This job is incredible, and I'm finally being challenged professionally in ways I never was before. I'm glad. You seem to mean it. You deserve good things, Olivia. You always did. Yes, I do. She held his gaze steadily. I deserve someone who chooses me first, not someone who settles for me while wishing I was someone else. Julian opened his mouth, closed it, then nodded. You're right. I hope you find that person. After he left, Olivia sat in the quiet of her office, surprised to find that seeing him hadn't hurt as much as she expected. The wound was healing, scarring over into something she could live with. 3 months into her position, Olivia's campaigns were already showing results. Client satisfaction was up. 3 new major contracts had been secured, and industry publications were taking notice. Dear Rick called her into his office one morning with an expression she couldn't quite read. Sit down, he said, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. We need to talk. Olivia's stomach dropped. Those words still carried weight after Julian. Is something wrong? Wrong. No, quite the opposite. Oh. Derek slid a folder across the desk. The board is so impressed with your work that they want to feature you in our annual report. They also approved a significant budget increase for your department. Act relief flooded through her. That's wonderful news. There's more. Dear Rick leaned back in his chair. There's a charity gala next Saturday benefiting children's hospitals. It's a major event. All the city's elite attend. I'd like you to come as a representative of Hartwell Industries. It's a great networking opportunity. Of course, I'd be happy to attend as my date. Olivia blinked. I'm sorry, what? Rick's expression remained professional, but she caught a hint of nervousness in his eyes. I should clarify. You can attend solo if you prefer. Represent the company that way. But I would enjoy your company for the evening if you're comfortable with that. This was unexpected. In all their months working together, Dear Rick had been nothing but professional, kind, supportive, but never crossing any lines. I don't want to make things awkward at work, Olivia said carefully. Neither do I. Derek stood and walked to the window, hands in his pockets. I'll be completely honest with you, Olivia. I've admired you since your interview. Your intelligence, your creativity, your resilience, but I also know your history with this company is complicated. If I've misread the situation or if you're not interested, we pretend this conversation never happened and continue working together as we have been. Olivia studied him. Derek Stone was handsome, successful, and kind. He had given her an opportunity when she desperately needed one. He treated her with respect and valued her opinions. And if she was being honest with herself, she looked forward to their meetings a little too much. Found herself noticing details about him that had nothing to do with work. "I'll go with you," she said. "As your date." The smile that spread across Derek's face was worth any risk. The gala was held at the Crystal Ballroom, the same venue where Olivia had married Julian 6 months earlier. Walking through those doors took every ounce of courage she possessed. But Derek's steady presence beside her helped. He looked incredible in his tuxedo, and the way he looked at her when she emerged in her midnight blue gown made her feel beautiful for the first time in months. The evening was magical. They danced, laughed, talked with donors and business partners. Derek was attentive without being possessive, charming without being false. Olivia found herself relaxing, genuinely enjoying herself until she saw them. Julian and Cassandra Vale stood near the champagne fountain, looking like they had stepped off a movie poster. Cassandra's silver dress probably costs more than Olivia's monthly rent, and her hand rested possessively on Julian's arm. Derek noticed the direction of Olivia's gaze. "We can leave if you want." "Hey, no." Olivia lifted her chin. "I have every right to be here." As if sensing her presence, Julian turned and their eyes met across the ballroom for the second time in their relationship. But this time, Olivia wasn't the one left standing alone. Julian excused himself from Cassandra and approached them. Derek's hand moved to the small of Olivia's back. A silent show of support. Double quotes Olivia. "Derek." Julian nodded to both of them. "You both look well." "We're well," Derek said calmly. "Enjoying the evening." Julian's gaze flicked between them, something shifting in his expression. "Are you two together?" "That's really none of your business," Olivia said smoothly. "But yes, we're here together." "I see." Julian's jaw tightened. "That was fast. Faster than getting divorced on your wedding night." The words came out before Olivia could stop them. Sharp and cutting. Derek squeezed her waist gently, grounding her. Julian had the grace to look ashamed. "I deserved that. I just want you to be happy, Olivia. Then let me be happy." She met his eyes steadily. "Move on with your life and let me move on with mine." Before Julian could respond, Cassandra appeared at his elbow, her smile brittle. "Darling, the ambassador wants to meet you." Her eyes swept over Olivia dismissively before landing on Derek with more interest. "Derek Stone, what a surprise." "I didn't know you were in town," pertaining the favor, Derek said with polite coolness. "Olivia, would you like to dance?" They left Julian and Cassandra standing there and moved to the dance floor. As Derek's arms came around her, Olivia released a breath she didn't know she was holding. "You okay?" he asked quietly. "I'm perfect." And surprisingly, she meant it. As the night wore on, Olivia noticed Julian watching them from across the room. There was something in his expression she had never seen before. Regret maybe, or realization of what he had lost. But it didn't matter anymore. That chapter of her life was closed. When Derek drove her home that night, he walked her to her apartment door like a gentleman. "Thank you for tonight," Olivia said. "For being there, for supporting me always." Derek tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, his touch gentle. "Olivia, I want to be clear about something. I didn't hire you because I was attracted to you. I hired you because you're brilliant at what you do. But now that we've crossed this line, I need you to know that my feelings are real. I'm not looking for something casual or temporary." "What are you looking for?" Olivia's heart was racing. "Honestly, he smiled softly, "but only if you want this, too. No pressure, no expectations. You can take this as slow as you need." Olivia thought about Julian, about how quickly he had rushed her into marriage while loving someone else. She thought about the pain of being second choice, of not being enough. Dear Rick was offering her something different. Patience, honesty, respect. I want this, too, she whispered. But slow sounds good. He kissed her forehead, tender and sweet. Slow it is. As Olivia closed her apartment door behind her that night, she realized something profound. She wasn't the same woman who had been shattered 6 months ago. She was stronger, more confident, more sure of her worth, and maybe, just maybe, she was ready to believe in love again. Winter arrived in the city with unexpected gentleness, bringing soft snow instead of harsh winds. Olivia stood at her office window, watching fat flakes drift past the glass, a smile playing at her lips. In the reflection, she could see her office transformed over the past months with personal touches, framed awards from successful campaigns, photographs from team events, a small plant Derek had given her that somehow she had managed not to kill. 8 months had passed since that disastrous wedding night. 4 months since the charity gala. 3 months since dear Rick had officially asked her to be his girlfriend over Thai takeout in her apartment. Both of them laughing at how unromantic the setting was, even as her heart soared. Daydreaming on company time. Dear Rick's voice came from her doorway, warm with affection. Olivia turned, her smile widening, depreciating the view. The snow or the office? He entered, closing the door behind him, carrying 2 cups of coffee from the cafe downstairs. Both. She accepted the coffee gratefully. What brings you to my corner of the building? Do I need a reason to visit my incredibly talented marketing director? Dear Rick settled into the chair across from her desk, a position that had become familiar over their months of working together. You have that look, Olivia observed, sitting down. The one you get when you're about to tell me something I'm either going to love or hate. Derek laughed. You've gotten good at reading me. So, which is it? Hopefully, love. He sat down his coffee cup. The board voted this morning. They're promoting you to Vice President of Marketing and Communications. Olivia nearly dropped her coffee. What? Derek, I've only been here 8 months. 8 months during which you've revolutionized our entire marketing approach, brought in 15 new major clients and increased our brand recognition by 40%. You've earned this, Olivia. It's completely separate from anything personal between us. She knew he was right. The work spoke for itself. Still, the speed of her rise felt dizzying. What will people say? That you're exceptionally good at your job. Derek's expression grew serious. I won't lie, there's been some talk about us. There always will be. But your results are undeniable, and the board decision was unanimous. Even the members who don't know about our relationship voted for you. Olivia processed this. Emotions swelling in her chest. Vice President at 29 years old. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Derek grinned. You enjoy making me sweat. Yes, Olivia laughed. Absolutely. Yes, he stood and rounded the desk, pulling her into a hug that felt like coming home. I'm so proud of you, he murmured against her hair. Thank you for believing in me, she whispered back. Always. The promotion was announced the following week. And with it came a new office on the executive floor, a substantial raise, and a seat at the leadership table. Olivia threw herself into the new role with characteristic determination, leading strategy meetings, mentoring junior staff, and shaping the company's public image. She also fielded the inevitable questions about her relationship with Derek. They had been discreet, but not secretive, and eventually word had spread. Most colleagues were supportive, some were skeptical, but Olivia's work ethic and results silenced most critics. One afternoon in early February, her assistant buzzed her. Miss Carter, there's someone here to see you. Doesn't have an appointment, But he says it's important. Julian Hartwell. Livia's hand stilled on her keyboard. She hadn't seen Julian since the gala 3 months ago, though she had heard through the office gossip network that things with Cassandra were rocky. "Send him in," she said, straightening her shoulders. Julian entered, looking less polished than usual. His suit was impeccable as always, but there was a weariness around his eyes, a tension in his jaw. "Thank you for seeing me," he said, remaining standing until she gestured to a chair. "I know I have no right to show up here." "What do you want, Julian?" Olivia kept her voice professional, detached. "I wanted to congratulate you on the promotion. I heard about it through the board minutes. It's impressive." "Thank you. If that's all, it's not." Julian leaned forward, hands clasped between his knees. "Cassandra and I broke up. 2 weeks ago." Olivia felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sympathy, nothing. "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you?" His laugh was bitter. "You'd have every right to gloat." "Gloating requires me to care, Julian." "I don't." The words were honest, not cruel. "I hope you find happiness eventually." "I really do. But your relationship status doesn't affect my life anymore because you have Derek." It wasn't a question. "Yes, and because I have myself." Livia stood, moving to the window. "You broke me that night. Julian shattered me into pieces. But I put myself back together. And I realized something while I was doing it. I had made you the center of my world. And that was my mistake. Now I'm the center of my own world. And Derek compliments that he doesn't complete me because I was never incomplete." Julian was quiet for a long moment. "I made a terrible mistake, Olivia. The worst of my life." "Yes, you did. SHH. She turned to face him. "You hurt me deeply, but you also freed me. If you had never asked for that divorce, I might have spent years with someone who didn't truly love me. Instead, I found work I'm passionate about and someone who chooses me every single day. I'm choosing you now." Julian stood abruptly. "I've spent months without you, watching you thrive, seeing you with him. I was wrong, Olivia. Cassandra wasn't what I wanted. You are. You always were. I was just too stupid to realize it until I lost you." The declaration hung in the air between them. A year ago, even 6 months ago, these words might have meant something. Now they felt hollow, empty. "No," Olivia said simply. "No." Julian stepped closer. "Olivia. I'm telling you, I love you. I want to fix this. Start over." "You can't start over from a place of dishonesty, Julian. And you're being dishonest right now with yourself and with me." "I'm being completely honest." "You don't love me." "Oh." Olivia's voice was gentle but firm. "You love the idea of me, the version of me who worshipped you, who made you feel important, but I'm not that woman anymore. I grew past her, became someone stronger, and that woman doesn't fit into your world." "You don't know what I feel," Julian argued, but his voice lacked conviction. "I know that love doesn't wait until someone else wants what you discarded. I know that love doesn't only appear when you can't have something anymore." Olivia moved to her desk, putting space between them. "I wish you well, Julian. I truly do. But we're done permanently. Please respect that." Julian stared at her for a long moment, and she watched him realize that she meant every word. Whatever power he once had over her was gone completely. "He's a lucky man," Julian said finally. "Derek, the lucky one," Olivia corrected. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting in 10 minutes. After Julian left, Olivia sat in her chair and released a shaky breath. She had expected to feel triumphant or angry or something dramatic. Instead, she just felt free. That final conversation had closed a door she hadn't realized was still slightly open. Her phone buzzed with a text from Derek. "Dinner at our place tonight. I'm cooking our place." Derek had asked her to move in with him 2 weeks ago and she had said yes. The move was happening next weekend and she couldn't wait. She typed back, "Perfect. I have news to share." That evening, as she recounted the conversation with Julian, Derek listened without interruption. They were curled up on his couch, now their couch, with wine and the pasta he had attempted to make. "How do you feel?" Derek asked when she finished. "Relieved," Olivia said honestly, "like I finally closed that chapter completely." "Did you ever doubt your decision? Choosing this, choosing us?" There was vulnerability in his question. Olivia turned to face him fully, taking his hands and hers. "Never. Not for a single second. Derek, what Julian offered me was grand gestures and passionate declarations. What you offer me is something deeper. Partnership, respect, support. You see me as an equal, not a prize to be won or a trophy to display." "We're my equal," Derek said firmly. "In every way that matters. I know. That's why I love you." The words slipped out naturally, though she hadn't planned them. They had been dancing around the declaration for weeks, both feeling it, but neither saying at first. Derek's eyes widened, then softened. "You love me completely?" Olivia smiled. "Is that okay?" Instead of answering, Derek pulled her close and kissed her deep and slow and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "I love you, too," he whispered, "so much it terrifies me sometimes." "Why terrifying?" "Because I never thought I'd feel this way about someone. I'd convinced myself that work was enough, that success was enough. Then you walked into that interview, brilliant and broken and brave, and everything changed." Olivia felt tears prick her eyes. "I was so broken that day." "You were never broken." Derek cupped her face gently. "Just healing. And watching you heal, watching you grow into the incredible woman you are, has been the greatest privilege of my life." They spent the rest of the evening planning their future. The move next weekend, the vacation they wanted to take in spring, the dog Derek wanted to adopt. Simple things, ordinary things, but filled with extraordinary love. 6 months later, on a warm September evening, exactly 1 year after her disastrous wedding to Julian, Derek took Olivia back to the park where they had their first real date. Away from the office. "I have something I want to ask you," he said. Stopping by the fountain where they had shared their first kiss outside of work, Olivia's heart began to race. As he knelt down on one knee, pulling out a small velvet box. "Olivia Carter, I'm not going to promise you a perfect life because life isn't perfect. What I will promise is to choose you every single day, to support your dreams, to celebrate your victories and hold you through your defeats. I promise to be your partner in every sense of the word, to respect you, challenge you, and love you with everything I have." He opened the box, revealing a stunning but understated ring. Exactly her style. "Will you marry me?" Olivia was crying now, happy tears streaming down her face. "Yes, absolutely. Yes." As Derek slipped the ring onto her finger and pulled her into his arms, Olivia thought about how far she had come. From the broken woman on a hotel room floor to this moment, standing in the arms of a man who truly loved her. The journey hadn't been easy. There had been pain and doubt and moments where she wasn't sure she would survive. But she had not just survived, she had thrived. And as Derek kissed her under the setting sun, Olivia understood something profound. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the catalyst for the best thing. Julian's betrayal had destroyed her old life. Yes, but it had also cleared the path for this new one. A life built on genuine love, mutual respect, and the unshakable knowledge of her own worth. A life where she was never second choice, never an afterthought, never anything less than cherished. A life where love wasn't found in grand romantic gestures or passionate declarations, but in quiet moments, steady support, and the simple choice to keep choosing each other. Day after day, as they walked hand in hand back through the park, Olivia looked down at the ring sparkling on her finger and smiled. This was what happily ever after really looked like. Not perfect, not without its challenges, but real and honest and completely wonderfully hers. And she had never been happier. 1 year later, Olivia and Derek were married in a small intimate ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. There were no grand ballrooms or hundreds of guests, just two people who had found each other at exactly the right time, promising to build a life together on foundations of trust, respect, and genuine love. Julian sent a card congratulating them, which Olivia appreciated as a sign that he too had finally moved on. She wished him well and meant it because her heart was too full of happiness to hold any bitterness. And as she danced with her husband at their simple reception, Olivia realized that the best love stories aren't about finding your other half. They're about finding someone who reminds you that you were always whole.